Hello everyone and welcome to SAFC Fan TV with myself, Conrad. We've got Michael with us. We're just doing a little half-season review. I think we were going to go down the route of something
like that. Well, I think I've got dogs in the background who are barking, so I think they're trying to join in the conversation. But yeah.
We're on the Phil Parkinson bit and they're sort of yelling, going, shit.
Oh, yeah, well, they weren't the only ones. Have we only played 16 league games or something? Is that right?
Something around that, I would have thought.
17, but anyway, yeah. Let's just crack on and see how it goes.
So we started the season a month late in September, obviously, for COVID and things like that. We started off against Hull in the Carabao Cup. I only briefly mention it just because, of course, they're a league rival. But I remember that game thinking we're going to be all right this season. We played really well. Should have scored 2 or 3 at least, if my memory's right.
Yeah, I agree. I remember watching that game and just thinking, actually, I don't know how many. Apparently, the noise from the Hull camp was Hull had a couple of players missing that day. But when I watched them, I just thought, if this is what Hull are going to be like this season, then they'll probably do well to get in the top 6. Now, obviously, at the time, I did say I thought Hull would be in the top 2. I think I put Charlton to win the league and Hull to finish second or whatever it was. But I looked at the whole game. I just thought, yeah, you're right. I think Grigg, to be fair, especially, he had 2 goals. He scored 2 goals, at least one of which was harshly disallowed, maybe both of them. But I thought him and O'Brien linked up well. I thought defensively we looked solid. We were creating a lot of chances. We weren't putting them away. But I thought if we play like that consistently enough, I know you're not going to play like it every game, but if you play like it consistently enough, you think, wow, get Grigg scoring. We've got a good chance here. And I was, even though we lost on penalties, and obviously, it's not nice ever to lose, obviously. I did come away from that game thinking, I'm not bothered that we're out of the cup because of the performance that I've watched. If we'd have gone out like we did against, say, Mansfield, I can understand the fume for it. But I think with Hull, a lot of the performance itself, I thought we dominated, we battered them, we just did everything but score. And I just thought, you know what, penalties 50-50, rubber the green. But
didn't Grigg miss? Grigg was the only one to miss as well.
Yeah, the one player who I probably wanted to score more than any other. But
yeah. But I mean, that game sort of set us up for, I think it was a week after we had Bristol Rovers at home. And like we were saying at the time, we sort of think like, okay, get a bit of momentum going. Grigg did score, so maybe he'll start. And I think Charlie White came straight into the team. Bearing in mind, still under Parkinson.
I believe Grigg played against Bristol Rovers. I'm pretty sure. No, Graham came in the week afterwards. But I know against Bristol Rovers, I'm pretty certain Grigg started.
Yes, he did because he went through 1-on-1 in the second half, and
well, to be honest, have you noticed we haven't even mentioned we've gone that long without mentioning the score, which was very good.
I mean, so I think 30 seconds to 2 minutes in, we'd already given them a penalty. I think Burge made his one and only mistake of this season so far, where he just clattered into the back of someone after like a couple of minutes.
I know that was not the ideal start, was it? Ideal start.
It's that thing we've always said of do not give teams something to hold on to at our place because they will just lock down. And literally after 3 minutes, you're 1-0 down to a team that would love a point, and it was just
I love the way you phrase that. They'll go on lockdown.
Yeah, they do. If it was ever a year to bring back the word lockdown for any purpose, it was this.
It's definitely the year for it. I remember when we went 1-0 down at Bristol Rovers, I thought, oh my God, here we go. They're going to time waste and they're going to just take forever with throw-ins, free kicks, goal kicks, everything. Which I don't blame them for because any team in that situation would do it. And it's nothing against Bristol Rovers specifically. It's just, oh God, can referees hurry up? Time wasting. But I mean, I understand why they do it. It took some momentum out of the game, even though I don't think Sunderland had any momentum to actually take out of the game. So
I think the last 15, I remember rightly, we started to have a go. Maguire obviously got his goal, and I'm sure Power had one that the keeper pulled off an absolute worldie of a save to stop us winning it as well, right at the end.
Well, Power's had a couple of. I know Sean doesn't like him, obviously, but I'm never going to. I always think Sean views him far too harshly because I think Power, while he's not technically the best player, he's already had a couple of really unlucky efforts this season, which have smacked against the crossbar. And even this game, the keeper saved it onto the bar. I'm pretty sure he did. So my annoyance was we played all right last 10, 15, 20 minutes, but it's like, well, why didn't you start like that?
Why did we wait so long?
You know exactly. Why did you wait? If you started doing that a bit earlier, Bristol. Actually, we did that a bit earlier. We probably would have won that game because I think Bristol Rovers' heads would have dropped once they conceded the equaliser. And that's the thing. But Maguire's goal saved us embarrassment, I suppose. But I know Charlie won Rovers Vlogs. I'm sure he was despite the late equaliser, I'm pretty sure he would have been happy with that result. So at least one of us would have been happy after that game.
Yeah,
Someone
was happy out in there in the world. But I mean, it seemed to be a bit all right with I'll sort of bunch them together. So the next 2 Saturdays, we had Oxford away and we had Peterborough at home. And we've won both of them. We won Oxford, I want to say, fairly convincingly. I don't really remember them testing us too much, but second half, I thought we were good for our 2 goals. And Peterborough, we didn't play the best, but we ground out a win, and that's something I've never really seen us do before, certainly for a long time anyway. So to get 7 points from those games, I thought was a good start. I don't know about you.
I thought that from the first 3 games, yes. Although obviously you would have expected us to maybe draw one of Oxford and Peterborough and beat Bristol Rovers, but you couldn't certainly with those 2 results, you couldn't complain with it. I know Oxford were struggling right now; they're really doing poorly this season. But when we played them, it was only the second game of the season, and they were expected to be up there. They were expected to be in among the playoffs, and you never know; they're not going to be completely out of it. They could go on a great run second half of the season and actually finish in the playoffs. It wouldn't put it past them. But at the same time, we deserved to win against Oxford, convinced by the score. I think the scoreline was fair. And obviously Peterborough was always going to be a game like that. And I remember there was a lot of people grunting about the performance. And fair enough, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I didn't understand it. I didn't understand we didn't play very well. It's like, well, if we're going to use that logic, we didn't play well against Portsmouth. So you got to have it you can't have it both ways. You got to look at it in that sense. But yeah. Look, that game, it was always going to be that way. Peterborough have scored probably. It wouldn't surprise me. Peterborough have scored the most goals this season. I know they're on a bit of a blip recently, but for a long while, it proved how good a result that's been so far.
Yeah, definitely did. I mean, like you said, I think we all noticed the people sort of going, but we're not playing that well. But for me, it was always a case of we've never really had that ability to play poorly but still win, especially not for a long time anyway. Yeah. That I would have thought so. But it was just the fact that then we were like, well, if we build on it and if we start to get wins when we do play well as can grind out points when we're not playing so well, it might be all right. But then that was when obviously the next month came into it and we saw that these performances of not being up to par, I guess, were starting to become real. I was trying to have a look at Peterborough's goal difference here. Peterborough have got 10, so I can't see the thing on it there. We've got 9, but Portsmouth have 17. So I'd assume it's Portsmouth now, but maybe early on, Peterborough were flying, if I remember.
Yeah.
So we moved into October. Arguably one of the best performances until Lee Johnson. 0-0 with Charlton. And I say best performances because we battered them and just didn't score.
Yeah, the first hour or so, but especially the first half. I think Danny Graham himself missed at least 2 or 3 sitters. And it was another one where people were disgruntling about. I think the contradiction of the way that people were viewing the games was, if the performance mattered so much, then we should be happy with the Charlton thing. Charlton was displayed, but obviously I know you didn't win the game. We didn't take our chances. I think from my position, by the way, that's not me having a go at the supporters. It was just something that annoyed me at the time. And people are entitled to view games however, whatever way they want. But I will admit that I would have seen that as 2 points dropped had we not gone down to 10 men later on in the game, because whether we like it or not, that does change your outlook and tactics of the game. It changes the way that you look at and view it and how you go about with the rest of it. And I think we did all right to get a draw once we went down to 10 men, but at the same time, we should have had a lead to hang on to. I couldn't believe how easy it was the first half. I was literally astonished with how bad Charlton. I know there were noises from the Charlton end saying they had problems, but I was thinking, Jesus Christ, I wasn't expecting to be this though.
Yeah, I didn't expect to be carving them open as easy as we did, and it was that same thing again especially under Parkinson. It becomes a theme of we just couldn't put away our chances. A bit like Hull, we had 3 or 4 chances over the course of the game and just didn't put them in. Granted, there was a couple disallowed in there as well. Bristol Rovers towards the end, we had a couple of chances, but we just couldn't force it in. And it was the same with Charlton as well. Just couldn't force a goal in, because imagine if we'd have got one of the first ones, you'd think every floodgates open. We get 2, 3.
You'd think so. And then it would have been viewed as an exceptional start if you got 10 points. You got 3 wins from Oxford, Peterborough, and Charlton.
I mean, we did sort of glaze over the Papa John's Trophy a bit, because earlier on in September, we'd beaten Aston Villa under 21s 8-1. So there's all our goals in that game. We then played in October Carlisle. We beat 5-3, I think. So all our goals,
to say the least.
Yeah, all our goals were coming in one specific trophy. It felt like that. But we moved on to Swindon away. Is this the one where we had like our first proper like makeshift back line? Like Luke O'Nien was at centre back.
Yes, I believe Jordan Willis got injured in this game, and I think O'Nien went to centre half. I think Jack Diamond went to right wing back.
That's right. Yeah.
That for me was the easy, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to win. That was the most comfortable win we've had this season. I think that was one where I felt Swindon were absolutely terrible. And it said a lot really because Sunderland, for me, didn't have to get out of second gear. We didn't have to get out of first gear, and we still managed to get a comfortable result. Now, maybe Swindon were just very, very bad on the day. I don't know. But based on what I saw of them against us, they've been we say the title of worst team we've played. I would say of the games that I've watched, because I didn't watch the Burton game, for example. Obviously, Wigan was pretty bad, but I do think Swindon was just awful. So Swindon are the worst I've seen us play personally.
It was that thing of, I think, did Charlie Wyke nick one in front of the defender? Like it was that weird one where all the defence were asleep.
This was the game, I think, before we started doing live streams. This was the game, I was watching it and I was going like this when Charlie Wyke scored. What?
Yeah, their defence had fallen asleep and he just walked in between them all.
I couldn't believe. I thought for a minute, I thought, no, that goal's surely going to be disallowed. That's surely going to be disallowed. He looks clearly offside, but the Swindon defence, for whatever reason, just went to sleep. But fair play to Wyke, though. You know, he gets in front of his gets well clear of everyone in the penalty box and just does what you got to do. Just pop it in the back of the net.
That was his first league goal of the season, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I mean, he might have had some against Carlisle. I think he had a couple against Villa in the Papa John's, if I remember rightly.
He would have had at least one.
And then we went on to Crewe, which was the first live stream you did, Philly, Sean, and yourself there. And we won 1-0. It wasn't the best game, but again, we won. So it was becoming a theme of we're not playing very well, but we were actually picking up points. So it was that sort of like...
Well, exactly. That's the thing that I was taking away from it. I did say that, obviously, I think at that point, we'd only conceded one goal, and it wasn't even from open play.
Yeah.
And our defence was the best... by far the best part of our game. And I did think that although I do want Sunderland to score more goals, ultimately I will continue to emphasise how important keeping clean sheets is, because it gives you, if your defence is confident enough to keep a clean sheet, it gives you so much freedom up the pitch. Because even if we start conceding goals, the pressure is then on the forwards more to go and get more goals to try and win us the games. And you shouldn't need to score 3 goals to guarantee a win. You should if you're going to be competent in defence, you only need 1. Now, I know that's not sustainable. I know that's not consistent. You do need to score more goals, but I just think keeping clean sheets, it's underestimated how important it actually is. And as we'll find out, they soon disappeared. So,
so not long after that one, I think it was a Tuesday night game. On the Saturday, our biggest test of the season.
Your favourite result of the season.
Just don't. We played Portsmouth at home, and again, we had, I want to say, a kind of makeshift backline. I think I remember it was Willis's first game back in for a couple of weeks. Wright at centre-back and O'Nien at left centre-back. And then I think, obviously, we still had like a combination of like Power, Dobson. Because I don't think Scowen was firmly in Parkinson's teams at this point either. I might be wrong on that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Thing is with Scowen, and it's one of the reasons that Parkinson's no longer Sunderland manager, Scowen is one of those that I think he didn't get a fair chance until... I think Power got injured and Dobson got suspended. So until he was forced to play Scowen, he wouldn't play him for whatever reason. So, but this, back to Portsmouth, I mean, look, the scoreline was fair. Pompey wanted it a lot more than what we did. We didn't turn up on the day. Obviously, I did say we were going to concede goals, but I didn't quite mean letting 3 goals in one game, albeit one was a penalty, to be fair. But either way, it was just a deserved result. A defeat was going to come, so...
It was a long time coming, it felt like, that because we hadn't been playing necessarily that well, but yes, we'd been keeping clean sheets. It felt like, okay, at some point, someone's going to get us. And they turned up and they sat on Ledbetter, who was sitting in front of our defence, and that just took away our whole system of our, like, cover the defence, do you know what I mean, and don't let him in. And then, of course, we also had...
I did still feel the 2 Pompey goals they scored from open play were far too easy cut over.
Oh, yeah.
I
Well,
do still.
Hume lost the ball and it was one pass across. That was
It
it.
was one pass across, and it literally cut our back line over. It's like, well, no, hang on a minute. Where's the cover? Where's the? It reminded me in some similar ways because I've had debates with Sean and Dean about the power they got my Godden goal at Coventry away last year, and how they argued that it was Power's fault. Now, Sean didn't. To be fair, it was more Dino who was arguing. I still do never not get that argument because even though Power lost the ball, the reason that we conceded was because the ball that was played to Godden, the pass that was played before he scored, both Willis and Flanagan were attracted to the same ball, leaving that space completely exposed behind them. Now, come on, that's not Power's fault.
It's because he lost the ball, I think, at first, and then it was another phase of play to that
if
goal.
Power lost it on the edge of the box and Godden dispossessed and then scored, yes, that's Power's fault. But the fact is we had opportunities afterwards to make sure that goal didn't happen. Definitely. So to completely blame Power, I don't think is very fair. But I know, so sorry, Dino, but not really. But, with this game, it was just defensively all over the shop. Absolutely all over the shop.
And then it carried on to the Tuesday night. We were 2-2 with Rochdale, if I remember rightly. I need to have a look at actually who scored. I don't remember this game. I blocked it from my memory.
I remember. It was right afterwards. I remember. I think, did Charlie Wyke and Bailey Wright score? I think.
They did. It was 2-2 at half-time, actually. Looking at it there. Didn't know that.
Who scored? Was it the same player scored twice against us?
Yes. We went 1-0 up Charlie Wyke. So Charlie Wyke got four in a row. Then Lund scored, Wright scored, and then Lund scored again.
I was thinking it was Ollie Rathbone for some reason. But yeah, I was more fuming after this game than I was. Pompey, I wasn't happy, obviously, but I did think, right, okay, defeat happens now and again. Just move on.
Bounce back, get your points again.
Yeah, Rochdale, I was pretty fuming after that game because I did think, right, come on, we're
better than this.
Yeah, exactly. We should be better than this.
Yeah, and then we had, right at the end of October, we had Gillingham, where we won 2-0 away from home. Why do I not remember this game? Oh, wow, we didn't score right until the very end. 84th minute, Maguire penalty.
Went down to 10 men in like the 60th minute.
Yeah, I can imagine. So my memory's not that great, but I can imagine at that time being like, why did it take us till 6 minutes from the end to get anything when they were down to 10
be honest,
men?
at that point, I was just relieved to get the 3 points. But yeah, it was a concern that, it needed a penalty and a breakaway goal in order for us to actually get the win. Although I still felt like the performance for me, I wouldn't say it was irrelevant. I wouldn't say it didn't matter, but I wasn't focusing it as, if you get the win, then for me, that's the simple matter of it. When it's the other way around, if we played well but didn't win, people wouldn't be focusing on the performance. They'd be focusing on the fact we didn't win. So, but yeah, that Gillingham game was, I think Parky did get massively out of jail there because it was a constant theme over and over again where Parky was being too reactive with changes and wasn't I think Maguire came on, but he only came on with like 5 minutes before we got the penalty, which for me is still, even though we won the game and we got away with it there, it's generally still far too late to try and impact games. I've never understood why he was so stubborn with it. Never understood it.
Yeah, it was a strange one. I mean, and then we take that going into Ipswich, literally the first game of November, and one of our longest spells, I would say, in League One without a league win started at this point. So we beat Ipswich 2-1, another live stream from yourselves. It was that weird one again. Didn't play that well. Arguably, probably stole a win. I would say more than deserved a win.
I'll do it. Yeah, I think the first 35. I think the first half an hour to 35 minutes, I thought we played quite well. But then but then after that point, it was just it was literally a smash and grab. And again, Ipswich went down to 10 men with like 20 minutes to go. But even then, I thought Ipswich on that side. Like, well, how's this happening? How are we allowing Ipswich, who have got a man down, to dictate us? And so, yeah, look, I was relieved to have won the game. I wasn't bothered how we did it, but I did think, I think Philly said it himself on the live stream. We've literally stolen it. We haven't done it with conviction. We've stolen it.
We were talking at the time because we were trying to think of games in threes at one point. So we were doing Rochdale, Gillingham, and Ipswich. We were like, you would take 7 points from them, but then it was the fact that the point was Rochdale, but you beat Ipswich. So it was a bit like that at the start, where it was like, we've drawn with Bristol Rovers, but we've beaten Peterborough. Like, it's.
But look, the thing is, after the Ipswich game, though, I looked at that and thought, because I think we had 21 points after 10 games, which was over 2 points per game, and we were only 1 point off the top two, having played Peterborough, Portsmouth, Charlton, Ipswich in our first 10 games. And I thought, actually, we've had a pretty good start. But I did think that there was an area in the back of my mind thinking we are going to have to improve performance-wise, because it just didn't look like we were. it just felt like, again, Parkinson was just mainly set up to not concede. Now, while I do want clean sheets, that should not be Sunderland's mentality in any game in League One.
I'll quickly skip over because I realise we're going longer. So we lost then in the FA Cup 1-0 to Mansfield, another embarrassing display.
For holding on to the ball when we're 1-0 down.
Exactly, George Dobson shielding the ball in his own corner in the first half. We then lost to Fleetwood in the Papa John's Trophy, but we were already through, so it was the youngsters got to run out.
The best bit I'll say is watching Jacob's reaction when we score because he wants to be Joey Barton.
Yeah, exactly. And then started the sort of the final downfall, I guess, of Phil Parkinson. So I'll blaze through these ones just to get into December here. So we lost at home 2-1 to MK Dons after taking the lead. We went to Doncaster, took the lead, and threw it away with seconds on the clock. We went to Fleetwood. I believe we took the lead again and threw it away again. When their manager was actively going, this isn't working, let's make 3 changes. They scored, and he still made those changes to
Am I right in thinking Parkinson only made 1 change?
Yeah, I think so. After that whole thing, he made 1 change, and then we were obviously too late.
Basically those 3 games we chucked 7 points away. You take the lead, do your job defensively, Parkinson would still probably be in the job.
And I think, if I remember rightly, that was when all of us started to officially join Terry on the Parky out bus at that point there.
I joined. I remember it was quite reactionary of us in some ways because I was Parky in before MK Dons. But when I looked at how bad it was against MK Dons, and it was a culmination, it was building up with the reactive management thing. MK Dons just epitomised it in 1 game. And I just thought, this isn't going to work here. And obviously Doncaster managed the game effectively. See, the dogs are barking. That's how annoyed I am.
You mentioned Parkinson and they're off. That's it.
Yeah, that's basically it. I used to remember, we were fuming after the Doncaster game with how poorly they managed that game was. If he brings fresh legs on to counteract Doncaster pushing us forward, we win the game, I think. Yeah. So.
And the Fleetwood one, it's Joey Barton, the thing, but it's still, he didn't try. That was that thing. When you were 1-0 up, it didn't look like he was doing anything. He thought, this will be all right. Whereas Joey Barton was throwing everything at it to be like, we're not out of this game.
That's the difference between a proactive manager and a reactive one, and that's why Parkinson's no longer here.
And then I think Parkinson's last game was the first one of December, where we drew 1-1 at home to Burton.
Now, he left before then. I think the caretaker boss took charge for the Burton game.
Ah, did he? That's where I'm getting this wrong there then. Oh, well. Oh, yes, he did, because I remember we were setting up for the Sunday night bunch the couple of days before, being like,
a few hours before that, he got sacked.
Like, oh, here we go, we've got Fleetwood to talk about from the Friday night, and then they were just like, an hour before, and they were like, well, what are we going to talk about tonight then? Let's, yeah, you're right, Taylor took the second game there, I believe. But, I mean, again, it still didn't feel like that was any better. But, I mean, he's a coach. He wasn't there to implement a whole new system. Yeah. What's the point when you've got someone else coming in, of course, there.
Yeah. And he was on Parkinson's backroom staff as well, so it would have been, I expected it to be similar and crap.
Yeah, exactly. And it was.
You've watched it.
And then we had Wigan and Lee Johnson's first official game, but it was more for him. I think it was more... Jesus, yeah. It was more him, I think, being bold, because he came in and kept saying, like, I want the team to be bold. I want them to be brave enough to make these decisions. He could have quite easily sat in the stands of this game and thought, it's not my problem. We lose, and then I get to go to Oldham and try that one. But he didn't. He came in and went, no, I'm going to have a go at Wigan. Like, I've been in 2 hours, 3 hours officially.
Yeah,
we'll have a go. And
very bold decision. And I like the way that he used the word bold. That's what Sunderland need to be more of in this league.
Yeah. And I think we said it at the time, because I think you were on the Wigan stream, I believe.
Yes, I was.
We seem to have, in the first half an hour, 40 minutes anyway, intensity in our play. We were driving at them. We were going forward. The crosses were still horrific, but you'd only been in 2 hours. You can't fix everything within 2 hours. And we lost, of course, on their one chance, one goal. And it summed up the Phil Parkinson error, really, didn't it? That it was just that, like, we were still hanging on for that sort of like 1 day or so where it was just like, right, one chance, one goal. There we are. We had a quick turnaround against Oldham. We won 2-1.
Your first win on a live stream?
My first win on a live stream. It still counts, even if people say it doesn't.
But yeah, Dino was trying to take credit for it, though, because he said, oh, it's me, man. The first live stream he was on and we'll win.
Was he on the Lincoln game? I can't remember if he was.
No, it was me, you, and Sean for the Lincoln game.
It's all down to me now.
Oh, okay.
So we obviously went through against Oldham, so I think we're still in the Papa John's Trophy, which will...
I got Port Vale coming up in a few weeks. Providing that doesn't get suspended, but
yeah, exactly. Well, they never even finished last season's one. Was it meant to be
Portsmouth, Salford?
Yeah,
and so that's still to be played. I can't. I think it is getting played, but I think it is, but I can't remember when the date's supposed to be.
You've gone this far. What's the point now? Like just leave it. Just never have a winner.
Yeah, we never. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, obviously Portsmouth would still be the winner, though, wouldn't they?
Yeah, Portsmouth are like, we don't need to play it. It's still us. You know, we've retained the title.
Exactly.
Then we move on to just 2 games ago, our best performance of the season by far. Going to second place Lincoln
and completely battering them and playing them off the park, which
a promotion 6-pointer.
I couldn't believe it. Like I was just looking at it. I remember I was watching the stream back. My reaction. I'm not going to try and pick up my own drum, but I think my reaction is quite funny. When the third goal goes in, I'm literally, again, like with the Charlie White thing at Swindon.
Yeah, it was that third goal that was like, oh my God, we're actually taking them apart here. And
I was just thinking, what on earth is happening here? Have these players took something illegal in the week leading up to this game or something? It just felt like I couldn't. I did say that I didn't think Lincoln were all that. I did think that Lincoln were overperforming, and I felt I would have expected Sunderland to beat them if they played to their best. But I didn't expect to win 4-0, though. No way. But it was amazing. It was actually nice and refreshing in the second half to enjoy a game. Because we were 3-0 up, I thought, right, I'm not stressed. Because albeit, Sunderland would still try and cock things up. But, thankfully we didn't, and we managed to add another goal. I remember saying to you when we were 3-0 up, imagine if we concede 4 goals and lose an inch, and you're like, shut up.
Yeah, shut up. Don't give people a reason to think I'm still a jinx on the stream. And then we were like, right, we've got Wimbledon to look forward to. We'll take them apart. And then obviously the news came just in the hours leading up to that game that
COVID happened. Yay.
COVID happened and our team's out. And that's currently where we're sitting at the moment, with no match against Shrewsbury on the 19th, no match against Blackpool the other night, and no match against Hull on Boxing Day, which Hull would have been. Imagine if we'd have just played those. Imagine that Lincoln. I'm don't get me wrong. Not every game you can play like you did against Lincoln, but I would have liked to have thought in that Wimbledon game we would have won 2-0, 2-3-0.
If we had our full strength team out, I think we would have done. Yeah.
I don't think in Wimbledon, Shrewsbury, and Blackpool we would have lost. I don't think in any of them we'd have lost based on one game that I'd seen and how quickly he's got his information over to the players.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we would have won them all, but I'm saying we wouldn't have lost in them. And then just that big one against Hull, because obviously we caught up a bit with Lincoln after beating them, of course. That would have been the sort of big, like, can we still do this, of course, and well, now we're falling behind.
I watched Hull Portsmouth last week, and from what I watched, now obviously that is one game, obviously in isolation. That's the first non-Sunderland League One game I've watched properly, and when I looked at it, I thought Hull looked devoid of ideas. I thought they looked very one-dimensional, and in some respect, I really wish that this COVID thing hadn't struck the squad, because if it had, and we played Hull at home, I could have probably really fancied us to get a result. Obviously, it's all this. But I think the other games, I think Blackpool, whereas I've said, I think Lincoln are overperforming. I think Blackpool have underperformed a bit. I think Blackpool would have been a very difficult game. Shrewsbury, obviously, they beat Doncaster the other night 1-0. They beat Hull 1-0. They beat Lincoln 1-0. So that wouldn't.
Doncaster could have gone top if they'd have won. Is that right?
I believe so. Yes. So,
jeez. No one wants to win this league.
Same with the Premier League. Nobody wants to win it. Nobody wants to win the league.
And that was thing that we were saying the other day, wasn't it? That I know people were like, a point against Wimbledon's not good enough, but then when you take into account, of course, what happened with the team, and then we're still, what was it?
It was thrown together, like literally. Yeah. Probably would have been thrown together at best 2 hours before.
And even that results didn't go exactly against us. We were then what?
No, exactly.
5 points off of top, or 5 points off second.
I mean, obviously, I think we're. I think it's 7 points off second, but obviously, I think it's 7. I think Port's. Hang on, no, I think it's 7 points off second. But I think we've got 2 games in. Is it of 7 points off top? We've got
7 points off top. They're both on 35. Yeah.
We've got. Pompey played 2 extra games than us.
We've got 2 games in hand on Pompey, 1 on Lincoln.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the games in hand thing, I do try not to rely on that. You need to win the game. I honestly think if Sunderland, when we get back to playing, whenever that's going to be, focus on going on a good run, and it'll take care of itself. Because other teams, based how this season's gone, other teams will drop points.
Well, it's like I was saying, they're all playing each other. at some point there's 11 teams between us and first. So you'd imagine at least every week 2 of those teams are playing each other.
Exactly, which is less points for one or both teams to get.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to be honest, at this stage, like I said, the Wimbledon game, I wasn't happy with the result. Don't get me wrong. I was not nowhere will I be happy with a point at home to Wimbledon. But in the circumstances, I wasn't fuming with it because I did think, right, team cobbled together very last minute. We've when a lot of these teams, where you saw the bench, we had Willis, not trained, Gooch not trained, and the rest of it was full of youngsters. So, and then the team we put out, yes, on paper, it should still have been good enough to beat Wimbledon, but at the same time, I think we did okay. I think we could have done a lot worse to not got anything out of the game. And when you consider other results, I think, right, okay, then let's just, draw against Wimbledon, fine. We won't be the only team that Wimbledon around there get points off, so let's just move on. But obviously, do you think that the games coming up are going to go ahead? So I'm talking Accrington, Northampton. Obviously, Fleetwood's been moved up. So I think Northampton and Accrington are in danger of getting called up.
Yeah, I do.
All 3 of our keepers apparently have got COVID. So.
Oh gosh, we get Lee Camp back.
If you want to get relegated, hang on. How many points are we off? 50 points. Am I just trying to guarantee survival?
Yeah, I think it's more likely that more games will be cancelled in the coming days. There's always that rumour of on Boxing Day they're going to lock everything down properly. So I wouldn't be surprised if some football clubs took that opportunity as well. The only thing is it's worrying for when, because you've got a football tournament in the middle of summer this time, so you can't delay the season too much. So I know I joked about it most of the season so far, but we need to do a Wickham. We need to get into 6th, and then if they give us the option to end without, you know what I mean, we'll take it.
Did you watch the debate on the Sunday Bunch a few months back when we talked about Wickham for about 20 minutes?
I was on it probably.
Oh, you probably. Well, I'm sure I remember you were either watching it or on it. I can't remember who would have been on it, but anyway, we talked about. I think Sean and Dino were of the opinion that Wickham didn't earn promotion because of how the season ended, and there'll be a lot of people that feel that way. But I was on the same opinion as Phil, where, let's be honest, if Sunderland were offered in that exact same position and we did that, we wouldn't be complaining.
I think exactly both, like you said. I'm with Sean and Dino going, it's a bit unfair that a team in 8th
it is contradicting how they couldn't.
But then I agree.
Season, but they could afford the playoffs.
I would have done it. I would have taken that all day long.
Yeah, I would have. If we got promoted somehow this season doing that, then fine.
It doesn't matter to me.
Injected into my veins.
Yeah, exactly. And at least this time we have someone who's been to Wembley in the manager and won games at Wembley. So I would back him over 3 games. I would back him to see it through over 3 games. I would.
You'd like to hope so, but like I said, I'm just desperate to go up one way or another because I'm really bored of League One now. The first 6 months was a novelty and I enjoyed it because we're winning games, but I think after that it was just, oh God, this is crap.
I mean, so final thoughts. Obviously, I mean, we know games might go ahead, might not go ahead, and what have you in there. But optimistic for the second half. We can still do this, of course. We can still easily get second.
There's definitely no reason to suggest we can't. I think a lot of it depends on how much backing Johnson gets in the January window. But also at the same time, we've still got the salary cap to deal with. So I don't know what our stance is going to be on that. If we're going to I'd imagine it's going to be loan players in. I think we're probably going to end up getting loan players in who are 21 years old and under from Premier League clubs. That's what I think we're going to end up doing. And as long as, but like I said, we've always said we want pace in the side, but I don't want pace for the sake of pace. I want pace, but someone who's got an intelligent football brain as well. And I know because obviously someone that young is going to make mistakes. They're not going to be fully fleshed out yet, obviously, but someone who knows a bit more when to pass a ball, when to shoot, when to cross a ball, when to receive a ball, and all that malarkey. So we'll wait and see, but there's no reason why we can't do it.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. So we recorded this on Christmas Eve. So I think from
dedication.
Exactly. So both myself and Michael would like to wish you all a Merry Christmas for tomorrow, wherever you are. If you really want an extra Christmas present, though, you should subscribe to our channel, where you can go on the community page and comment Arca, and you might win a signed Julio Arca shirt from Mikey. You don't have to get it out. I won't make you do that at the moment.
No, I can't be bothered with that, right?
There's a picture on our site, so do that if you want to be in with a chance to win. I think the draw's this Sunday night, actually, so you've got a little bit of time to get in. But yeah, from both of us, we hope you.
Imagine if this video goes out on the But
I'm doing it tonight. It's going out now. I'm doing this today.
Oh, okay.
I'm not at work today, so I can get this out today. But yeah, Merry Christmas to everyone, and we'll see you on Sunday for the Sunday bunch.
Good Christmas, guys. Stay safe.